Can homosexuality be cured? Hello, I'm Greg Neal, and my answer to this question is absolutely not. Firstly, homosexuality is not an illness, nor has it been considered such for nearly 50 years. Hence, there is no reason to cure it. Secondly, there is no known way of changing a person's sexual orientation or identity. While we still don't fully understand why some people are LGBTQ, what we do know is that sexual orientation and identity are unchosen, immutable, and effectively hardwired into people's psyche from before birth. While one's behavior may be modified to conform to cultural norms and expectations, their sexual orientation and identity cannot be changed. It cannot be beaten out of people, argued away, preached away, or prayed away. LGBTQ plus people know this from personal experience, and the American Psychological Association has scientifically confirmed it. But why can't you just pray it away? Surely nothing is beyond God's ability to change. While nothing is impossible for God, the experience of hundreds of thousands of LGBTQ plus people is that God doesn't consider our sexual identities to be a problem. Many of us, perhaps most, have begged God to change us. I did for many years while trying to pretend I was straight, but to no avail. God has loved me, saved me, and changed my desires regarding a whole host of unhealthy sins that have been a problem in my life. But God has never, ever changed my sexual orientation. If anything, the more I have grown in accepting who I am as a gay man, the more peace I have found with God. The struggle to pray away the gay did far more damage in my life and in the lives of other LGBTQ plus people than our sexual identities have ever done. The harm that trying to change one's sexual orientation can do has been well documented in the Netflix original film Pray Away. This documentary focuses on Exodus International, which was an organization of Christian ex-gay ministries that attempted to change, convert, or heal LGBTQ people. While Exodus no longer exists, there are similar ministries still functioning in the United States and around the world. Back in the early 1980s, when I was in junior high school, my parents forced me to go through an Exodus International program in hopes that it would change my sexual orientation. In that program, I was taught that while God loves all people, God won't love us while we're gay. At least that's how it was explained to me when I was a vulnerable 14-year-old boy. Specifically, I was told, being gay is one of the worst possible sins a young man can commit. In order to be forgiven and loved by God, and to prove that you really love God yourself, you must stop being gay. Through individual therapy and group counseling sessions, I was scolded into believing that I didn't have enough faith in God. Through moralistic preaching that incorporated large doses of guilt and shame, I was further coerced into believing that if I really loved God, I would stop being gay. The most aggressive form of treatment that I underwent involved both aversion therapy and a form of negative reinforcement, in which I would be shown a series of photos. Girls in various states of modest undress would be accompanied by pleasing sounds and odors, while photos of shirtless young men would be accompanied by a moderate electrical shock through a cuff around my wrist. I experienced hundreds of these treatments across several months, and each time I was hooked up to the machine, it was nothing short of torture for me. As horrible as this was, It was really the perverted picture of God as an angry, judgmental, unloving monster that most repelled me. Even then, I knew that there was something enormously wrong with what I was being told, and I eventually managed to convince my parents to let me quit the program. None of it worked. Indeed, it couldn't have ever worked, but I didn't know that at the time. Reparative therapy was a disaster for me. The damage it did took decades to overcome, and some of the emotional scars remain with me to this day. Indeed, it took God's grace, repeatedly lavished over me by dear friends, fellow clergy, competent clinical psychologists, and church members, and most especially by the wonderful people at St. Stephen United Methodist Church in Mesquite, Texas, to bring me to God's true wholeness and all-inclusive love and acceptance. No, homosexuality cannot be cured or fixed or repaired. It doesn't need to be, because God loves us so very much. Thanks for watching this video. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about this or related topics. You can find out more about Grace Incarnate Ministries on the internet at revneal.org. I'm Dr. Greg Neal. Thank you for watching.